What is up guys, my name is Chase, and it has been quite a while now since Nintendo has announced Game Boy Advance games coming to the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack. And I don't know about you guys, but I have been anxiously waiting for more Game Boy Advance games coming to the Nintendo Switch Online service. So while we wait, I thought it would be fun to talk about some of the Game Boy Advance games that I think need to come to the Switch Online service. The first Game Boy Advance game that I think needs to be included with Switch Online is WarioWare Twisted. WarioWare Twisted was a Game Boy Advance game that I remember fondly. Of course, how could I forget it when the cartridge had this giant bulge on it? This was one of the few games on the Game Boy Advance that had gyro controls in it, and since the Game Boy Advance did not have a gyro sensor built in, they had to make this ungodly creation of a cartridge. But in all seriousness, this was one of my favorite WarioWare games. I remember I used to play this game so much in the car or when we would fly on airplanes. It was really interesting that they made a bunch of these WarioWare micro games that made use of the gyro sensor in some way. And along with that, the cartridge also had a built-in rumble feature, which gave you a slight feedback as you would tilt your Game Boy. So I think this is a Game Boy Advance game that would perfectly fit on the Switch Online service, because now you have the gyro sensor built into the Joy-Con, and it could also make use of the Joy-Con's HD rumble for the rumble features in the original cartridge. It's like the Joy-Con were made for this game. The second Game Boy Advance game that I would love to see for Switch Online is Rhythm Tengoku. Rhythm Tengoku is a Japanese exclusive Game Boy Advance game that officially kicked off what would later be known as the Rhythm Heaven series. And interestingly enough, this was the last game developed for the Game Boy Advance, releasing on August 3rd, 2006. I think this would be a perfect advantage to release this game to the Western audience. Nintendo has released Japanese exclusive games on NSO before, for example Pano de Pon, and by putting Rhythm Tengoku on the Switch Online service, it would introduce the Rhythm Heaven series to people who have either never heard of the series or have just never played the original game, like myself. And hey, maybe this will motivate Nintendo to actually make a brand new Rhythm Heaven game, please. The third Game Boy Advance game that I think should come to Switch Online is Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty much completely clueless when it comes to Kingdom Hearts, but I would imagine that Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories is a game that the fans would love to see be brought to the Nintendo Switch Online service. And based on what I've read online, hopefully I'm not getting anything wrong, this game has been re-released as Re-Chain of Memories, but I'm sure die-hard fans might want to experience the original game with its original graphics. And the Game Boy Advance's graphical limitations might actually be special to fans of the series. So I think this would be a cool game, if anything, just for the fans of Kingdom Hearts. The fourth Game Boy Advance game that I think could work really well for Switch Online is Mario Party Advance. Mario Party Advance was a very interesting Mario Party game. It didn't even feel like a party because this game was more focused on single-player gameplay. But hey, this was the first full Mario Party game that was released on a handheld console, so I think there is something special and charming to it. Seeing all of the Mario Party assets with the Game Boy Advance's graphics, I think is just kind of fun to look at. And hey, if they even want to go above and beyond, maybe adding some kind of online multiplayer for this game would be really cool. Like, it doesn't even have to be all of the players playing on the same board at the same time. Maybe it's like competing in time trials in single player, or trying to see who can be the last one standing. I don't know, maybe I'm just dreaming too big. And the fifth Game Boy Advance game that I would absolutely love to see come to Switch Online is Mario Pinball Land. Yes, I'm serious. Okay, listen. This is honestly a very biased choice for me. I actually have a lot of fond memories of Mario Pinball Land. I remember the McDonald's Happy Meal toy where it's just a Mario ball. I thought that was awesome. And I don't know, like something about using the Game Boy Advance's triggers, like it just felt right for pinball. I don't know, I just find it really charming that there's a Mario pinball game. And I think just like releasing Urban Champions for the 3DS, this could be like a funny, quirky game to have on the Switch. I just think this is such a weird game, and it's just funny to me that it even exists. So those are some of the Game Boy Advance games that I would love to see Nintendo bring over to the Switch Online service. Now, some of the games that we talked about here might be more realistic than others, but hey, who knows, this is Nintendo, they've done much weirder things. Let me know in the comments what Game Boy Advance games would you guys like to see come to Switch Online? If you want to see my reactions to the original announcement of Game Boy Advance games coming to Switch, feel free to check it out below. For now, thank you so much for watching, my name is Chase, and I will see you guys again soon. Bye.